Howdy doody everybody, my name is KevGuuey and welcome back to Companion. Missed the last episode, you can click on the eye in the top of the video to watch the previous episodes, get caught up. Aries' questions were directed at me from where she sat in the front passenger seat. She didn't seem bothered by our disagreement over her spending habits, and it didn't seem as if she'd be easily convinced. They're pretty nice. Youngja's 3 or 4 years older than me, I think. Heian's around my age and their kid is around 7 years old. They met in high school, and as soon as Heian graduated college and Youngja finished with his military service, they got married. Aww. Aries' interest at my short introduction was surprising, and her exclamation of excitement was so loud it nearly drowned out the music playing in the car. I glanced sideways at her. Her eyes were shining, even over dessert. I hadn't seen her so excited. Oh. The tale of high school sweethearts who found their happy ending is the perfect love story, so rare in reality that it would naturally inspire envy in most people. Still, Aries was more interested than I'd expected.
这样算是青梅竹马吗？大学读同一所，是什么时候正式交往的？有闹过分手吗？最后是怎么求婚的？
Wow. Lots of questions. Her stream of questions over the loud, rhythmic music in the car made it difficult to formulate an answer. I'd met the couple at work. While we had been co-workers for years, it wasn't as if I could ask such personal questions of them. From the excitement in Aries' face, she likely assumed Heian and Youngja were as in love as ever. It was true that I'd rarely seen them argue in all the years I'd known them. I think they went to different universities in the beginning, and Heian transferred schools to be with Youngja.
哦，是哪间学校啊？
I told her it was a national university and a respectable one at that. You mean the Taipei University? Though I couldn't quite recall if Heian had originally gone to an even more renowned school before she transferred. From my impression of the two, she very likely had, probably.
哦，大学生呀，不知道是怎么样的生活。
It's probably the last carefree period you'll have in your life, like the calm before the storm, I guess. Oops. Harry didn't giggle and agree like I'd expected. Then it hit me that the girl I was speaking with didn't have the opportunity to go to college. I didn't know whether she had stopped going to school after junior high, dropped out during high school, or had just graduated. Whichever it was, she didn't seem to find this a pleasant topic.
好模糊的形容。
Harry sighed,
去过的人就是很难想象嘛。
Harry sighed, stretching.
现在这个时代，没上过大学的人很奇怪吧？像我，连以后要做什么都不知道。还是赶快钓个有钱人结婚好了。
Oh. Well, I mean, you gotta do that in like, 2 days. There she went again. It was my fault for raising this topic, but I still didn't like hearing Aries like this.
或者是找个哥哥来照顾我，对吧？哥哥。
Wow, her gaze kind of just looked at us there. I focused my gaze on the rearview mirror. From her tone, I felt she would have wrapped herself around my arm had I not been driving. I chuckled. Even strong sleeping pills lose their effectiveness if you take them for too long. I took advantage of the next red light to adjust the rear view mirror. Aries hunched her shoulders as if hurt by my words and stared moodily at me, a pout on her face. She remained like this for a few seconds, unaware that I was observing her in the rear view mirror. Wait, so she's sitting behind us? Why? Finally, she turned away, like a child who wanted to throw a tantrum but couldn't find the right time to do so.
所以还是要研发让人一睡不起的方法，对吧？
Oh, that sounds like a bit of a killer motive there.
是啊，那说不定在一开始就已经下猛药了，现在是睡着的状态。
But that wouldn't make any sense. Seeing her mischievous grin, I promised myself never to make idle conversation with her again while driving. That's funny. Oh, she's asleep. As we made our way into the mountains, Aries fell asleep beside me. Fortunate, because I needed to concentrate on the winding road. I'd known how to drive for more than 10 years, and it had already become a reflex of sorts. As a result, I could of course drive and chat at the same time, just not with someone as lethal with their wit as Aries. Soon we had reached a collection of villas halfway into the mountains. The buildings were slightly mottled in color, having been built over 10 years prior during a trend for people to invest in as much real estate as possible. People had believed that purchasing a villa, whose price could potentially increase in later years, would give a better rate of return than leaving money in the bank. Thus had little white houses sprung up in the mountain suburbs like mushrooms after the rain. However, a recession several years later left the villas worthless and impossible to sell. Most of them were now empty. It was evening, and from the number of empty driveways, few of the villas seemed to be occupied. I was trying to recall which one belonged to Youngja's family when I saw the expensive white car parked conspicuously on the east side of the street. I had known Youngja to drive a plain, serviceable sedan, but some sixth sense told me this gleaming new car was his. I dialed the number and was soon greeted with a familiar face in the second-story window.
在这！
Where? Why are we looking at the sky? Are they at the sky? Hello? Huh. Heian was waving her arm at me madly with her usual welcoming manner.
叔叔，
We were walking toward the door when we heard footsteps stomping from the other side. I twisted the rusted European-style knob and swung open the door to reveal a little girl who ran toward us with a yell of... Heian appeared behind her daughter. Her hair, styled in its usual short bob, was a natural brown color that gave her a lively appearance, and she wore a blouse that was secretly cropped at the shoulder and coupled with black leggings. She looked nothing like a woman awaiting the end of the world. You could also tell what the parents' personalities were like from how they dressed their daughter. She had on a layered skirt and a cute blouse with slightly crooked ribbons along the sleeves. A flower-shaped beret was pinned to her round collar, most likely because it had refused to stay fixed in her hair and had eventually been moved to where it wouldn't fall free. Aww. At least the beret's color matched her outfit. That was already an improvement over the usual. Youngja and Heian weren't normally ones to pay much attention to clothes. The little girl stopped in her tracks when she saw Eri. She gripped her hands in front of her chest, looking wary of the stranger. Eri also stopped, her easy grin fading into a tight smile.
好久不见啦！这么漂亮的女孩子是从哪个国家带回来的？
Huh. It might have seemed as if Heian was trying to break the awkward silence, but I'd known her long enough to understand she was simply the type to ask a question when she had one. I had assumed I'd met Eri while traveling. She and Youngja were like that. They never had any complaints about my way of life. Please opened my mouth to introduce my companion, but hesitated. I'd been referring to Eri as, well, Eri, but that was a nickname. It wouldn't be natural if I had introduced her by name. How was I going to handle this?
表哥，他就是上次说的同事。
Yeah. I almost didn't know how to react. Heian also seemed a bit surprised.
先叫安妮就好。表哥，你跟我说叫她阿姨，这样好像怪怪的。
Whoa, I never said that.
哇！怎么从来没听说过你有个这么可爱的表妹？说话又这么甜，不然你叫我姐姐好了。
Heian grinned, too happy to have been caught young to suspect anything. Students are on break for the summer, so she's been staying with me for a little bit while she interviews at a prospective university in town. As of today, she's all done with that though, so I thought I should drag her along with me. I looked toward Eri, grateful and rather impressed at how easy she'd avoided giving her real name while helping the conversation along.
哦，说姐姐好，然后说你的名字是什么？
Okay, I was kind of waiting for her to say something. Heian prodded her daughter and patted her head for reassurance. The little girl whispered, "Ying Ying," and buried her face shyly against her mother's stomach.
真搞不懂这孩子的个性到底想要谁。你们先进来吧。
Heian led us inside the house. The villa had 2 floors. The living room consisted of a set of sofas and a TV cabinet, minus the TV. An old-fashioned kitchen was separated from the living room by a door covered in peeling white paint that gave it a slightly dirty appearance. Oh. Aww. The house was breezy and the aroma of food was only noticeable when I got closer to the kitchen. I could tell from the light smell of star anise that there would be roasted pork for dinner tonight. Ooh.
平常都没人住，刚搬到这里时花了很多时间整理。
Heian explained. I guess the villa's neglect explained why the floor was slightly dirty. If you'd called me up, I could have lent a hand. I got back in town about a week ago.
怎么了吗？
Aiden asked Eri, who was standing to the side with an amused look. Eri quickly waved her hand in denial. Nothing, just thinking about how busy my cousin here always is. Hayden unconsciously patted her daughter's head, not quite sure how to respond. Youngja emerged from the kitchen right on cue and welcomed us in his deep voice. His ever-present smile brightened his serious, angular face and made him appear warm and friendly. Hayden introduced him to Eri, who greeted Youngja calmly. I don't. Trailed off, staring at Eri as if considering something. Eri turned away, unable to maintain eye contact.
这样一直盯着人家看很失礼呀，阿佳。
Aiden chided.
抱歉。
The nickname Aja reminded me of a character from a movie that had once been popular. Eri tugged my sleeve, apparently thinking the same thing. I spoke in a low voice. Hayden loves thinking up new nicknames for her husband.
来帮忙把菜端出来，差不多可以开饭了。
Oh my gosh, yes.
啊，艾里，帮我带下衣好不好？有些汤汤水水的东西要端。
Aww.
去啊，怎么这么害羞啊？
没关系的，不然姐姐带小孩子，我来帮忙好了。
It was hard to imagine this sweet, polite girl was the same person as the calculating, clever one I'd come to know.
不好意思，我们跟你表哥熟了，平常他过来也会一直指使他。
It's fine. Eri assured her, pulling Winnie the Pooh oven gloves over her hands and heading into the kitchen. You could tell that the designer of the house had loved to cook from the kitchen's abnormal size. People rarely cooked for themselves these days, yet the kitchen of this villa could fit at least 3 people comfortably at the same time. The huge oven against the wall was obviously new, as were the varied and numerous cooking utensils. Against the backdrop of the room's old-fashioned decor, the contrast was startling. I already knew that my colleagues were experts at both Chinese and Western cuisine after eating with them so many times. I could even tell who had prepared which dish. To see them put so much effort into a single meal was a first, though.
那个比较重，我来端。
Young just said, easily lifting the large brewing pot. With Eri carrying the lobster salad, all that remained for me to do was set out the coasters. Oh, lobster salad? Oh man, I don't really like that, seafood that much. But it's okay, we got roast pork. Dinner began soon after 7. We had a lobster salad, peas with shredded chicken, fried shrimp, broiled cabbage, a bamboo shoot salad, and a huge pot of roasted pork. Ooh! The rainbow of dishes sat on the table, brightening the room with their colors.
喝点酒吗？
Yanja asked, pointing at his massive collection, practically a wall ornament at this point. At my notch, he selected a bottle of red. Hayden prepared the glasses and ice with the help of little Ying-Ying, then removed a sleek glass bottle of her own from the fridge. Doesn't, Eri not like, wine?
艾莉也喝一点，冰酒甜甜的，很好入口哦。
Ice wine. It was so like Hayden to recommend wines to someone without a thought to ask their age. If Youngja wasn't there to stop her, she'd probably have poured some into her 7-year-old's plastic cup as well.
谢谢。
Youngja gave me a meaningful look. I shrugged to indicate I didn't mind. Youngja closed his eyes with a sigh, as if pondering something, then smiled resignedly when he reopened them.
那么就
Hayden placed the ice back into the fridge and settled Ying-Ying in her chair. She then lifted her glass and Youngja mirrored her action with his ruby red beverage.
干杯！
Aww. The ordinary day seemed festive as our hosts gestured in parallel and blended their voices in a toast to the meal. What was there to be cheery about? The family in front of me would soon be shattered. Their little girl, unable to enter the shelter, would not know until the last moment that she had been abandoned. The teenager at my side would never have the chance to improve her mess of a life and would probably be roaming the streets aimlessly even when the end came. That's very sad. That's a very sad outlook there. Enjoy the present now, man. Come on, Kevin. The red wine wetted my lips and I set down the glass. My eyes met with Eri's clear, unshadowed ones. If I asked her whether she was satisfied with her life right now, she would probably smile. After all, it's not for my spur-of-the-moment decisions to bring her home. She could have been sulking alone right now. Or lying in the arms of another man.
要开始猜猜了吗？沙拉是外面买的。
Heian said to us as she put food into her daughter's bowl and broke apart the roasted pork with a spoon. Eri looked confused, at a loss for what she was supposed to guess at. Let me start from what I'm sure of. The shrimp soup was Yongja. You made the chicken peas and the boiled cabbage. I didn't explain the game to Eri, assuming she'd figured it out from my response. Indeed, she immediately brightened and began to discuss the similarities between each dish and deduce which was made by whom. You probably made the bamboo shoot salad. As for the pork, I used the serving spoon to shift through the bowlful of pork in a slightly impolite manner. Being good friends of mine by now, Heian and Yongja didn't seem to mind. Instead, they looked at me intently, eager to hear my verdict. Not sure, maybe Yongja?
来我们家吃饭果然不是白吃的，全都猜中了耶！我每次都觉得很不可思议。
Even Ying exclaimed from this side. You're so good at this! Eri said as she studied the piece of meat she had placed in her own bowl, flipping it over and over with her chopsticks as if trying to solve it like a Rubik's Cube. Meanwhile, Young just sipped his wine and continued his meal in silence, smiling a little at the reactions around the table.
我知道了。
Eri yelled suddenly, causing poor Ying to drop her shrimp on the table in surprise.
哎，难道有什么诀窍吗？
Heian picked up the dropped shrimp and ate it, not noticing her daughter gazing at the shrimp with longing eyes.
像虾仁要剥壳这种比较麻烦的菜，或是东坡肉这种比较花时间的菜，就是叔叔做的，其他就是阿姨做的。笋子的话
Eri picked up an essentially large slice of bamboo shoot with her chopsticks. It was clearly much bigger than the other pieces in the dish.
哪有？这本来就没办法切成一样大小吧？又不是机器切的，不然切成小方块就好了，那样多没人情味啊！
Heian complained indignantly.
没有，只是在猜它是怎么分辨的而已。
Typical Eri, handing the responsibility over to me with just one sentence. I quickly explained, no, I didn't say who was the better cook. You guys have just different styles, you know. Yongja grinned from the side with his eyes closed, seeming to enjoy the moment. I remembered how desperately I'd failed the first time I tried to guess. I've been shocked to learn that a man Yongja's age could cook and even prepare time and effort-consuming meals, while Heian was less skilled at fine details and usually prepared generous yet rather rough dishes. It didn't seem such a long time ago, now that I thought of it. Yet so many years had passed and so much had changed. Heian was especially interested in Eri's school life. Eri was a bit flustered by all the questions, having never experienced a regular high school life. But luckily, all of us were either too young or too old to be experts on how the current school system worked, and no one called her bluff. Yongja asked questions as well, but mostly about Eri's hobbies and favorite foods. Those were of course easier to answer. Ying, like her mom, was curious about high school and what Eri's friends were like. Despite the bombardment of questions, Eri did a good job spinning fairy tale accounts of her fictitious high school life.
到时候我也会穿上那种漂亮的衣服跟裙子吧。
Ying declared dreamily, tiny hands tucked under her chin. Oh. The chirp of crickets filled the room. The insects outside hadn't gotten louder. The room had simply fallen silent.
所以要好好用功哦。
Eri told Ying. The two had apparently become fast friends after chatting so much during the meal. The oblivious Eri's statement was too late. The atmosphere had already shifted. I locked eyes with Yongja and Heian.
莹莹喜欢的话，明天我们就去买好不好？
Aww. Yongja didn't say a word, but also put down his bowl and rested a hand against Heian's back. The reason was simple. The two children present would never grow up to reach our age. I had never been a father, but I knew that all parents likely dreamed of what their children would like as adults. I kind of felt the same for Eri, whom I'd only known 2 days and didn't share any blood relation with. I kept hoping that she would grow up to become a mature and thoughtful woman. Did she like this world of hers? Had it been kind to her? If not, if her experiences so far hadn't been good, then I dearly wished I could give her time to see how lovely this world was. Of course, the love this couple in front of me had for their child must be many times anything I had for Eri. How could someone resign themselves to their fate and so lead a normal life? Perhaps their strength came from having each other to rely on. Eri tugged my sleeve. She was good at picking up people's emotions and naturally felt the change in atmosphere. However, I didn't have any explanation for her. Eri didn't prod me for an answer when she saw that I wasn't going to give her one, and she continued eating. Sorry, I need to go to the bathroom.
妈妈怎么了？
Heian finally pushed herself away from the table, stood and left abruptly as if running away from something. Ying shrank back in surprise and whispered, "What's wrong with mommy?"
妈妈只是有点累了，来，快点把饭吃完。
Oh. I was already taking my second helping of rice when Hayden returned to the table. Not wanting us to hear how her voice was cracked from crying, she didn't say much through what remained of dinner. Oh man. I'm so sad. Youngja mentioned that tonight was not very suitable for stargazing, since the weather report said that it was likely to rain. He still lectured Eri, stargazing novice that she was, on the basics such as what to bring and what meteor showers were. Ian kept interrupting with her own childish versions of astrology stories, and I couldn't help but see myself through my father's eyes when looking at this adorable young girl.
不过你这样的装扮会不会不方便走路啊？
Youngja asked Eri through his gaze was directed at me.
女孩子怎么能听你的建议打扮啊？当初约会那天我穿洋装，这家伙居然一点反应也没有，还说穿这个不方便活动吧，然后还建议我下次穿运动裤和普通上衣就好。你看，就是有这种人。
Youngja sighed in defeat while Eri smiled innocently. Ying asked, "Does Daddy like sports clothes?"
如果世界上的人都像你这样的话，服饰店早就倒光光了。
Oh, no. Maybe? No. You didn't bring a chance of clothes, so it should be fine. It's not a long walk anyway. Everyone was talking at once. Youngja patted his daughter on the head with his right hand and made a face at Hayden while replying to me. That's good then. You should take a bath after dinner and go to bed as early as possible. That's what we usually do on stargazing nights, but we've had such a huge dinner today, so that could be hard. When do you normally go to bed, Eri?
不一定，大概12点多。但是有时候会到2、3点。看。
Youngja leaned forward.
看情况。
哦，那要早睡可能会睡不着哟。高中功课很多吧？听说现在大学联考比以前更火，每天要准备考试到很晚吧？
Yes. Eri looked adorable as she blushed and lowered her head. Somehow I felt like patting her on the head, perhaps because I understood what she meant by circumstances.
我不是那种成绩好的学生啦。
那也没关系啦，也不见得要很高的学历才能找到好工作。很多事业有成的人也是早早就离开学校，像
Einstein, right? Didn't Einstein drop out of school? Right. Right. No need to be so nervous, Heian. Eri doesn't mind, eh? Eri nodded but threw a glare at me as if telling me to stop pretending I understood her well.
不过有时想想，我也觉得年轻时还可以再多玩一点。
Yeah. Youngja murmured pointedly, shaking the remaining liquid in his glass. No matter how he hinted at our bleak future, we wouldn't be able to explain what we knew to those who didn't. All it served to do was to relieve a fraction of the uselessness we felt for not being able to do or say anything. Silence fell around the table. Ying fidgeted, wanting to leave and go play. It was a shame that such a great dinner had to end like this. Aww.
到时候要走多远呐？怎么都没先跟我说。
Silence fell around the table. Oh, never mind. That was the same thing before. After dinner, I naturally took over the job of cleaning up. Eri, for some reason, offered to help. This kitchen had been made for cooking enthusiasts after all, and there was more than enough room for 2 or 3 people. Eri stood by the sink, grumbling to me in a low voice that the others wouldn't hear. Just 5 to 10 minutes. Didn't you bring sneakers? If you can't walk that far, I can give you a piggyback ride. Grab the dish full of suds that Eri handed me.
不是。
She said unconsciously, flicking her right hand and sending some foam flying my way.
我有烘碗机吗？要不要我帮忙？
Yelled Heian from the living room. She's been straightforward like this for as long as I've known her. We let you know when we're finished washing.
干嘛那么大声啊？吓到我了啦！
Eri complained. I normally have been quieter, but I thought it would be fine out here with no neighbors to complain about the noise. Sorry.
而且我带过来的是短袖上衣跟短裤，哎，你怎么都没有先说会有蚊子啊？又说会下雨，这样我不想去了啦。
Oh, that's why. Eri kept up a steady pace washing the dishes as she complained to me. It would be a shame to not go when we're already here. Heian and Youngja probably have some mosquito repellent lying around. I'd ask them later.
哦，
Oh, okay. Harry turned to rinse the soap lather from the dishes for me. I suddenly realized that she'd already finished her job. I'd held a stereotypical view of Harry as a girl who hated to get her hands dirty, but now that seemed like prejudice. After dinner had been cleared away, Heian took her daughter out for a walk. Youngja was listening to the weather report on the radio and checking the equipment. Ari seemed to have gone to the second floor.
好久没像这几天吃得这么豪华了。晚上果然还是出去走走比较好。
Yeah, Ari said, hearing my footsteps behind her. She leaned against the railing of the second floor balcony, and I joined her in looking at the sky. Some of the brightest stars were visible, but most were hidden behind the misty hems of the gray clouds floating above. There were no city lights here, but it was still impossible to see many stars with it so overcast. Harry gazed in the direction of the city. The flow of headlights, winding street lamps, and the lights from buildings seemed to be aligned on an orderly grid like pieces on a chessboard. Today, the false starlight on Earth was prettier than the real stars above. I thought about how long it would be until I could next gaze at the stars and prayed that the clouds would clear up soon. Two voices drifted up to us from below. Even though the light was dim, I could still make out Heian's scarlet top and Ying Ying's tiny white shirt. Harry sighed as if to draw my attention. I wanted to ask her if something was wrong, but stopped myself when I saw the exhaustion on Harry's face. He seemed to want silent companionship more than someone to talk to right now.
真是不可思议。
Ah, careful against the railing, you'll get your skirt dirty.
我几乎快喜欢上跟你在一起的感觉了，好像比家还更有家的味道。明明才1天而已呀。
We watched from above as Heian and her daughter returned to the house. Now that there was no one around to overhear our conversation, Ari seemed to relax, moving her chair close and swinging her legs in the air. Ah, the same. I mean, me too.
好像刚开始的时候一样。真是完全都没有进步。
It was perhaps hard for humans to see sex and love as unrelated things. After sleeping with Ari and spending just a couple of days with her, I couldn't help imagining what it would be like to spend the rest of my life with her. That was why I didn't usually conduct one-night stands again. I thought Ari would be just a fling as well, but apparently this was now heading in a direction beyond my control. In just 4 days, I would enter the shelter. I had no idea what I was thinking to contemplate something like spending my life with Ari.
我要下去了，刚刚好像听到叔叔在叫。
Did?
来了，所以我们是在这里先洗澡吗？
I was left alone on the balcony, shaking my head and wondering if Ari had been born with such a wonderful array of expressions or if she had to practice in the mirror. Huh.
这衣服好漂亮，一定是自己带的吧？
Heian and her daughter, both already finished with their own showers, greeted Ari excitedly as she stepped out of the bathroom in her new clothes. Before changing into the outfit, Ari had borrowed scissors to cut off the price tag. She didn't seem to see anything strange with that, though I did. I mean, why would you be wearing an outfit with price tags on it? I mean, would a girl buy new clothes when staying over at a cousin's instead of just bringing her own?
没有啦，就很平常的衬衫而已啊。
How come you guys assume Ari bought them herself? I have a good sense of style, don't I?
你只会挑那种露背、露肩、露腰的吧？再怎么单纯的女生，只要穿上你挑的衣服，都会变得像默默一样。
I would?
妈妈，什么是默默？单纯。
Ari muttered, surprised that Heian had used a word to describe her.
荷一边的袖子跟这样圆圆的领子看起来都很可爱呀、扣子那边蕾丝装饰也很漂亮。
Yeah, it's pretty. You guys go on chatting. I'm gonna go take a shower. I went into the bathroom carrying a bath towel and my change of clothes. Outside, I could still hear Ying asking, "Well, what's a succubus?" Mommy and Ari muttering, "Going to bed this early is gonna be hard." As I had often stayed over for stargazing in the past, I already knew the bathroom well. The colorful plastic toys littering the place had been added after Ying's birth, as had the small stool that stood beside the bathtub. I turned on the faucet, water streamed out, already at a comfortable temperature from when the previous occupant had run it. The steamy room smelled of fragrant spices. I hadn't even known Ari for 2 days. I had questioned whether she really was accustomed to my way of life, or if I had simply imagined the sense of comfort between us. But now I knew that it wasn't my imagination. 4 days were too few to get to know someone. How could I hope to help Ari in such a short time? Couldn't I give her something more meaningful than just 4 days of hanging around and having fun? I thought back to my teenage years and my relationship with my parents at the time. I shook my head. I wouldn't be able to help Eri reconcile with her mom in 4 days. That was something that would take much longer. I tried not to think as I showered. After learning of humanity's lack of a future, it had taken me some time to learn how to empty my mind completely. Before I'd mastered that skill, alcohol and women had been my only relief from this constant shadow over my heart. Wow.
都回房睡了，你表妹用你平常的那间，可能要让你睡2楼或这边沙发了。
Oh man, saw the sadness on my face.
毕竟还很年轻，很多事情都有弹性吧。发生灾难时，像这样的年轻人才容易生存下去。
I mean, where is it gonna hit? I mean, isn't that something that's important, right? Where is it gonna hit? He continued. We wouldn't do to feel sorry for them, even if we gave up our own chance at life. We wouldn't be able to save everyone. We had made it a rule not to discuss this topic, but when the two of us were alone, we somehow always returned to it. Knowing that the room could be bugged, those of us with inside knowledge had to be monitored wherever we went. We unconsciously lowered our voices.
我去洗澡了，垫杯跟薄被都帮你摆在2楼。
Thank you. It was how conversations on the topic usually ended. We couldn't say much about it, and it wouldn't do to go any deeper. Oh man, it's so sad. The gentle sound of a movie soundtrack woke me from my slumber. It was loud, but the music was pleasant, so I wasn't going to complain. I tried using upbeat, noisy songs for my alarm before, but all that achieved was to make me feel like dashing my phone against the wall every morning. I felt as if I'd only just fallen asleep. The older I got, the harder it was for me to adjust my sleep schedule. I washed my face in the bathroom and then followed the voices drifting up the stairs into the too bright living room.
哦，起来了，不好意思委屈你打地铺，海英去叫你表妹了。
Oh, okay. Oh, it's fine, thanks. Your daughter's still asleep, I see. Ying's eyes were still half closed and she clutched sleepily at her father's shirt. By remark, she quietly hid herself behind Yangja.
小孩子嘛。
Eri showed up in the living room, bleary-eyed and with one hand shading her face from the light. Heian, however, was completely awake and joked that Eri was very easy to wake up.
没有忘记带什么吧？那就出发喽。天气虽然不是很好，但我想应该还看得到一点。
Yay! Our two stargazing novices murmured assent in low voices. Yangja went to turn off all the lights before leaving, but Heian stopped him. Hiking path to the top of the hill was overgrown with weeds. It seemed like it had been a long time since anyone was here. Yangja was in the lead, pulled out weeds as we went along, but it didn't do much to make our trek easier. Picked up the rear and could hear Ying Ying whimpering and complaining somewhere in the front. Yangja finally surrendered and carried her on his back.
还好吗？会不会很重？
Eri asked, though it seemed to be mostly out of politeness rather than an offer of help.
是防蚊液的味道，真的好的。
She almost tripped over a rock as she pushed branches out of their way in an irritated fashion.
怎么这么难走？
Well, it's hike?
对不起，打到你了吗？要不要走在我前面？
Asked Heian from her place in front of Eri. She seemed to have thought she had smacked Eri in the face with a branch.
没有，不用。
There's the mall, things to be scared of, I told Eri, who had leapt to my side all of a sudden. I patted her on the back. Unsurprisingly, she only glared at me and circled around Heian to walk up front. I climbed up on for some time, and just when I began to worry Eri would complain of exhaustion, we arrived at the top of the hill. At the top was a grassy area with some small dirt mounds and rocks that formed pits in which we could light a fire. There were also a couple of wash basins nearby, but not a single street lamp was visible, making it a perfect place to stargaze. Heian lit a small, comfortable lamp. Yangja began setting up the equipment, and Eri seemed seemingly infected by the merry atmosphere, helped by setting down mats on the ground and taking out the snacks I had brought to eat while we passed the time. Sorry that the snacks don't look very tasty. We're old, you know. We like to stay healthy. Sorry to disappoint, I told her.
啊，我想说这么晚了，别吃太难消化的东西才好。其实偶尔不健康一下也没关系吧。
Heian quickly amended.
没有，只是有点意外而已。
Eri nervously replied. Heian was actually right. It wasn't as if we had a lot of time left, and indulging a little probably wouldn't hurt. Humanity would soon be completely erased from the surface. What point was there in eating healthy? We all wanted to leave something to future generations. Books, too, told us that we were supposed to leave our good deeds or our successes and our inspiring words behind so that our spirits would live on even after death. I used to believe this was true. I believed it for more than 20 years. And then, well, I learned of the apocalypse. Humans no longer existed. Who would be there to remember those model figures in history? Even had the companion star never begun to fall, humanity would still be destroyed one day. The problem was now fate wasn't inherent to the companion star. It always existed and was simply made evident by the approaching disaster.
云还是有点厚，不过都来了，就随便看看吧。
Alright. Oh. I'm gonna end the episode here, everybody. Man. This episode was really sad. It's getting sadder and sadder each time. For each video, it's getting sadder and sadder, and oh man, it sucks. It really sucks. Oh man, the emotions, heartstrings. Well, anyways, I hope we get to see the meteor shower in the next episode. So if you guys enjoyed this episode of Companion, then please slime that like button and subscribe down below for more awesome videos. And don't forget to hit that bell too. Thank you everybody for watching this episode, and you will hear me in the next one. Goodbye!